Good morning, gang. Happy Monday morning. Okay, it's November 5th. No, it's not, really, but in Canada, it is. And this is going to be interesting to watch for all of us. Today is election day in Canada to elect a new prime minister to succeed Justin Trudeau. Thank God. Okay. But it's going to be eerily reminiscent of our election that we had here in the States November 5th, because you have a staunch conservative in Pierre Poilievre up against somebody who the people have never chosen and wasn't ever elected to anything, who's the incumbent in Mark Carney. It's going to be one of the first tests of, okay, let's see how nationalism, if you will, takes hold around the world after Donald Trump was being elected. I mean, just to give you an idea, if you saw the rallies that Conor McGregor had, remember, you know him, right? Okay, boxer, MMA fighter, yada, yada, yada. They had about 100,000 people show up for a rally in Ireland over the weekend there, because Conor McGregor is literally had hats that said MIGA, Make Ireland Great Again. Okay. Are we seeing a backtracking, if you will, to countries having national pride, to globalism being kicked to the curb? I hope so. Okay. I am all for 100% behind anybody who wants to make Canada great again, make Ireland great again. I don't care. Make Russia great again. You know, countries need to be proud of who they are. The people need to be proud of who they are. The caveat to that is the people actually need to be Americans, Canadians, Irish, Russians, pick a country, okay? The world is getting pretty sick and tired of all this immigration crap and people coming into the country and saying, we left our shithole of a country, but now we want to do everything we did back there in your country. You know, it's kind of like California liberals moving to Texas and then bitching that, you know, people don't do things the way California did. No, leave your idiotic ideas where you've already destroyed a state back there and you moved here for a reason, right? It's the same thing with Canada today. Hopefully, Mark Carney gets kicked out on his ass. However, we don't know if it's true. This is from polls, whatever you can believe in the way of polls anymore. This election right now is too close to call. And the problem is the momentum is going toward Mark Carney. Up until maybe about a month and a half ago, Poilievre had a significant lead in the polls. And then, of course, we had the whole Donald Trump and the idiotic 51st state crap. And Canadians started backing off and going, we want to be an independent country. We'll stick with the guy who's anti-Trump. Hopefully, two things happen. Hopefully, first off, Trump abandons his stupid idea of making Canada the 51st state, okay? That's just about as dumb as you get, okay? And you guys know me, I'm a Trump supporter, but I will call him out for idiotic ideas, and that's one of them, okay? But Mark Carney is a World Economic Forum stooge. He's a staunch globalist who is all for illegal immigration from wherever. Oh, Canada will welcome everybody, yada, 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 right? And the Canadians, most of them, or at least half of them, roughly, pretty much like here, are like, oh, hell no, we're Canadians. We want to stick to being Canada. We don't need Sharia law or Somalis running all over the place or Haitians eating dogs in the street, whatever. I mean, Canada needs to do what at least a little more than half of Americans are begging to be done. Make Canada great again. Okay. The big key to this whole thing is the two candidates' stances on dealings with the United States. I mean, Canada and the U.S. obviously share the largest land border in the world. We have been friends, allies for decades, centuries, whatever you want to put it. I mean, for a long time. Economically, we rely on each other. Canadians get quite a bit in the way of product from the U.S. We get a lot of oil and timber from Canada. Not that we necessarily have to have it, but it does make it a little easier. It's a lot easier to ship oil from Canada to the U.S. than it is from the Persian Gulf to the U.S. So the strategic alliance between the two countries is very important. Mark Carney does not give a rat's ass about working with Donald Trump. Mark Carney is kind of like Volodymyr Zelensky. It's going to be my way or the highway, and you're not in a position of power. Poilievre wants to work with the United States, does not want to give up the country. But it's going to be really, really interesting to watch what happens tonight. Because, like I said, up until a month or so ago, it looked like the Liberal Party was going to get tossed out on its ear. And it's now turned that the Liberal Party has a slight lead in the popular vote. Again, depending on how accurate polls were, and if polls were accurate, Hillary Clinton would have been president and Kamala Harris would be president. But we know that isn't true. We'll see how this all plays out. Even if Mark Carney wins, the Liberals in Canada will not, and again, they've got a different system of government up there. We're talking about a prime minister here, not a president. Okay. The Liberals will not have enough power, Carney's party alone, to form a government. They will need to make alliances with some of the smaller parties. Okay. So, again, you think of how Europe does it, same concept. How it seems like the United States is going to, is even though they're only by two names, Democrat and Republican, we have a MAGA party, we have a Rhino party, we have a Democrat party, and we have a Communist party, the one led by AOC and Bernie Sanders. And so they got to form some sort of coalition government. We'll see what happens. If Carney wins, they're on their own. If Poilievre wins, then chances are relations between the United States and Canada will get significantly better, which the only thing that matters to you and me on is economically. For the Canadians, well, yeah, that matters a little bit because, defense, because for decades the Canadians have relied on NORAD, for example, missile defense, anything, Canada's a little more reliant on the U.S. than vice versa. But we'll see. I want to see Canada make Canada great again. I want to see Canadians be Canadians, not a landmass filled with illegals and drugs and all that crap that has turned some of the United States into crap. Canada's an absolutely beautiful country. I've been there a few times. Absolutely gorgeous. And it'd be a shame to see it ruined by more liberalism more globalism, more idiocy by making things more expensive, restricting trade with your greatest ally. Canada, here's to hope that 12, 13 hours from now, you do the right thing. Pinball